Our moderator is Julia Paczkowska, sorry, and I did it correct this time, almost again. And she will introduce the panelists. So enjoy the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adonis, for the introduction. It's actually Paczkowska, so if there is a charity box, 50 euro for misspelling. Good afternoon to all. Thank you for having us. I am aware it's lunchtime and you are probably all hungry at this time, but I do hope that you are still hungry for some knowledge, for some insights from our experts. Before we begin, I'd like to congratulate to Mr. Adonis Violaris and his amazing CSN team for the hard professionalism contributing to the success of these conferences. Congratulations also to Mr. Konstantinos Galanakis for his input for the Athens conference and the Limassol one. Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's clear that maritime industry is going through a period of transformational change, and that sustainability and the ESG under its umbrella is not only an industry trend, but it is a cornerstone. It should be an integral component of every business strategy. It is simply a necessity for a higher cost health of our planet. As technology evolves and awareness grows, shipping industry is taking steps towards reducing its environmental impact. And to meet the environmental challenges, we need technology, we need innovation, yes. But we also need people. And then, of course, we need regulations to facilitate this journey. But our panel discussion today will focus around people, around seafarers and the role they play in delivering ESG goals as we embark on the transition towards sustainable maritime future. 80% of decarbonization will come from energy efficiency measures, and 1.9 million seafarers will be part of this change. The training, skills, the right crew management, proactive planning, seafarers' rights, their human and labor rights will be more important than ever. The truth is that what makes the difference between the voyages is not the ship, but people on them. I am delighted to have such an esteemed panel with me today. Thank you very much, Kyriacos, Sofoklis.
Good day, everyone. My name is Sofoklis Constantinou. I'm the HR and crew manager of Acheon Akti Navigation. I feel honored to participate in this panel today among such distinguished panelists, and I look forward to sharing my perspective and hearing yours about the interesting topic we have today. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Chrysoula Patrikiou. I'm the Business Development Director of Pyli. However, my business identity, my business profile is a human capital architect, is an identity I have built within my 20 years of experience serving critical working environments such as the civil aviation industry and, of course, shipping. And I'm one of the lucky ones that I managed to be active business-wise while managing and connecting with people, either as a manager, as an instructor, or as a quality auditor. What my inspiration and my biggest, let's say, passion was to empower, motivate, and inspire people. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Theodoros Marneros, the co-founder of 3C Shipping and managing director. I'm an ex-tech officer. I used to work on board the ships, then I transferred to big companies like Schulte, Interorian, and V-Ships. In 2019, a little bit before we get involved with the COVID, I decided to open my own company, running smoothly now for the almost 5th year in August. And I'm proud to be here to share my knowledge and hear also your opinions.
Thank you, Theodoros.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Penelope Robotis, a psychometrician and psychologist at IMEQ Assessment Center. By profession, I'm a psychologist, psychotherapist. I've worked extensively in the field of providing counseling. The last 7 years, I've been working very closely with IMEQ in building, researching, and analyzing profiles through the assessment services offered by IMEQ. I'm excited. I've been reading a lot about ESG all the time the last couple of years. And I'm excited to be on this panel. I'm looking forward to a discussion and working with all of us.
Thank
all
you.
Of you.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much. I would encourage our audience to read the bios thoroughly because they are really very impressive. Without further ado, let's jump into this panel and have the conversation going with my first question to all of you. Should a ship management company strive to re-engineer processes and management concept to align with trends and regulations of the ESG? Kyriacos?
I'm going to use this one. Good.
Can use two.
It depends every time from the size of the company. I'm saying this because this will have a major impact when it comes to financing this type of implementations. So in order to be able to make these advancements, you need to have available funding and resources. So every company needs to be able to identify its strengths and its weaknesses when it comes to developing these new advances in order to keep and meet these new regulations. But at the same time, the responsible authorities need to provide a trial period for all companies. Big companies might be able to make the investment right now and provide the best practical solution to their seafarers and to their fleet. But other companies that do not have that much of financial exposition, it might be difficult to be able to keep up with this type of new regulations and these new advancements. So yes, the company will need to start re-engineering their processes, but every time we need to also have in the back of our mind that this is something that has a financial impact to the companies, and we need to keep that in mind because behind every company there are families, there are people, so we need to be able to look after them.
Thank you very much for this very well put perspective. Sofoklis, I saw you were nodding. Would you like to pick up on that?
Sooner or later, all the companies will have to implement ESG strategies. Definitely, as Kyriacos said, it's a financial issue. We expect that the big companies will lead, and then the smaller ones will follow. So in the next years, all the companies will, it will be necessary for all the companies to implement ESG strategies. Now, why it's important? We have strict ESG requirements day by day. So implement and stricter environmental standards, stricter social responsibility requirements, stricter social governance, stricter governance guidelines. Re-engineering the process is essential to ensure compliance and to avoid penalties, among others.
Thank you very much.
I agree,
Patsalides.
both with Kyriacos and Sofoklis. I just want to add something, that management as a process and by nature is dynamic. So it's not static, it's not solid. So it involves conditions change, people change, legislation change, the framework, everything changes. So inevitable management, ship management, shipping, no matter the industry, but management should change in terms of recreation and re-evolving. It's a continuous process, and it's one-way direction. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasily. Theodoros.
I think not much left to say. But yes, of course, we need to go ahead with environmental social governance. But the problem is, I think, is what we discussed also in the previous panelists. It's going backwards of what we have to implement. I mean, instead of first implementing in our office about these things, then train the crew, then put all this information on board, and then enforcing them on board. Unfortunately, most of the time we force things on board the ships, and we push crew to do it without being trained, without being as trained or well familiar what we're trying to implement, and it's creating more extra problems on board the ships. And the performance, of course, which we finally end up that it's captain's fault or it's chief engineer's fault. And then they fire them and they say, well, we don't want this captain. Even thought that he was working for them for 20 years. New rules, and we shoot them like crazy. And this is not the correct way to approach our crew.
Thank you very much for Theodor. Very valid point.
I've been thinking about this question, and I've heard all of our panelists here discuss, and of course I don't want to play devil's advocate, but I always come up question to a question. And I'm just wondering, we're talking about this ESG concept. I've been reading a lot about it over the last couple of years, and especially the S part, because the environmental, all crew conferences focus on the environmental sustainability. We need to keep in mind that sustainability is a huge concept. And in reading, at least focusing on the S part, the social requirements of ESG, as a psychologist, I have a difficult time understanding how will they apply. I know quite a few companies are implementing, taking actions in fulfilling the requirements under S, social sustainability. However, I think it is much more than what is being currently done, and I will agree with Kyriacos that for large-size companies, big companies, crew management companies, they can probably apply those requirements a lot more efficiently and effectively. But what happens to the smaller? And I understand that quite a big percent of the, a big chunk of the shipping companies are small-scale companies. How can we implement? I mean, my husband's in shipping, and I'm aware of the cost in re-engineering in terms of the, changing the, for the energy efficiency. What about the S part? Will it take training? Is that sufficient? I think that we need to reconsider the value system, the mission and the value system that shipping companies operate upon.
Thank you very much. And I think it would be a right moment to congratulate a few companies that were shining at the ESG Awards International in Athens on Monday. And congratulations go here to Safe Bulkers, Limassol, Bernard Schulte, and the last one, Fleet FML. The representatives of some are here, so congratulations. And I'd like to go to the second question to all of you again. How important is crew planning in recruiting process, and how does this affect ship operators' readiness and budgeting? Kyriacos, please.
Well, it is very important because when you want to recruit new people, you need to be able to identify their background, depending from the company you are, the type of the vessels you are operating, the culture of the company itself. So every time you need to make a background check for each and every new person you are going to employ. And it's very important to have this planning from before because time changes. Day by day, we've got new obligations towards regulatory frameworks in order to meet any regulations for standards and certifications. So you need to be able to hire the appropriate personnel. And not only hire new personnel, but at the same time, this interconnects with the previous question, that you have current employees that might not meet these expectations. So it's, from my side, the way I see it, it's the company's responsibility to train them. As we've seen in the previous slide before, training is a journey and not a destination. But in this journey, it's not only the seafarer, it's not only the low-rank personnel, it's also the company itself. So in this journey, both sides are traveling, and they need to be able to coexist.
Yeah, great, thank you very much. Theodoros, maybe you would like to go next because you have hands-on experience here.
Okay, I think it's very important, especially for the crew planning, when we go to ASG and we want to enforce this on board, we need to ensure that the crew has been aligned, is already trained, is ready, and that he is ready to replace his guy on board. Because if we delay, the crew changes is affecting actually the morale on board. Then the crew board is complaining why haven't been replaced on time and why you couldn't send this guy. Not all of the crew, they can understand that there is slowly implementing more requirements, and before you send somebody board, have to have specific trainings, because in case of an accident, then the P&I will get involved and say, you sent this guy, he wasn't ready, and you sent him without training, and then it's affecting replacement, planning. You maybe have to do additional extra crew changes, affecting the cost. And it's a big chain behind that. So I think, I'm not sure if all the companies are ready for that. But it's something that we have to enforce and start slowly implementing trainings, do the trainings on time, and have the crew well in advance and not just last minute notice. You are planned next week, but you have to do 10 trainings. And finally, he cannot manage because there is no much time.
Thank you very much. Vasiliki?
I would like to make a comment on the term training. I've said that before, and every time I have the opportunity, I always share my thoughts. So training is not, it's a very cold word to me. I prefer the learning and development process for the people. So this concept, the learning and development, reflects to another philosophy that you invest in your people and you don't want just to exceed compliance. You don't want to comply with the regulation or the framework suggested at the time, but you need commitment. And in order to achieve commitment, you need to involve your people. So it's not just training, make a presentation, train your people 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, doesn't matter, and then, okay, you're all trained, you're all aware of the ESG or SDGs or you name it. It's not that. You need to involve people in order to achieve commitment, so then they're committed to the standards and given framework.
Thank you. The lack of uncertainty for the future fuels, coupled with the lack of certainty about regulatory developments, makes it for sure very, very difficult to plan for the maritime workforce. Penelope, would you like to add here anything?
That it's very difficult for a maritime company to balance stakeholders' needs and expectations. So when it comes to preparing the, just relying on training and just on the crew and the maritime personnel is very difficult to achieve because the needs and expectations are difficult to balance. That's all I would have to add to the previous conversation, to the previous topic.
Thank you. And Sofoklis, in your perspective.
About the learning that Vasiliki mentioned, so I have to say that ISM is referring to as training. Maybe that's why it's so commonly use the word training. I would like to point out how crew shortage impacts the planning of seafarers, and how this affects the readiness, the ESG readiness of the company, and the budgeting as well. As we all know, crew shortage is the major issue that our industry is facing, and it's hard to maintain your pool levels. So proper planning of crew and retention strategies are required to be implemented by the company. The unskilled seafarers have impact in the ESG readiness of the company, so training sessions need to be organized, and this has impact, of course, to the budget of the company, and also the fact that some companies are forced to use, let's say, non-educated crew in regards to ESG and environmental requirements. Might have an impact in the financial performance of the company.
Thank you. Anyone would like to add anything to this point?
If you allow me, Julia, regarding the term budgeting, because we keep relate budget and high budget with the human capital and the employees. If we relate investing in your people, in our people, to budgeting, imagine or bring it to your mind as an accident, what kind of cost you have then. If you don't invest your people, then you have other costs that you don't want to deal with. That's the only thing.
Unfortunately, take that. Unfortunately, not all the owners, ship managers, or they want to invest, or they want to spend this extra. And I will agree with you, and an accident will cost them much more. And unfortunately, not all of them, they will agree to do all these kind of trainings or learning and development. And sometimes, and especially when I was working on the big other companies, it was like, you have this budget, you have to do it. And that's it. You couldn't do anything else. And if you couldn't manage that, that means you was not doing a good job, no matter who is taking the decision for that.
Yeah. Very, very valid
So
point.
balancing becomes a very strategic decision.
Thank you. Konstantinos, let me come back to you again. You touched upon that already a little, but I'd like you to elaborate more. What are the best practices for assisting your crew pool enhancement in ESG requirements and readiness?
Well, enhancing your pool readiness is crucial for sustainable operations and involves implementing various practices. Upon implementing an ESG strategy, the company, the organization must communicate and discuss the ESG principles and the importance of it with the seafarers. Must listen what the seafarers have to say. It's very important. Then explain to them and ensure that they understand how their role will assist implementing, will assist achieving implementing the strategy and achieving the goals, the ESG goals. The company must provide training on ESG principles and practices. The crew must be educated on the relevant procedures, must be provided with resources and support. The organization must foster partnerships with industry associations, with flag administration, classification societies. SIMEPA is one, and must collaborate with them in, on initiatives and share best practices. Must prioritize and support the well-being and social responsibility of the seafarers. Must provide them access to mental health services, improve recreational facilities on board, and in general to foster a sense of belonging and purpose. Moreover, an organization must provide incentives and recognition and reward the seafarers showing good performance on and commitment to ESG goals. Must establish monitoring and reporting mechanisms to track progress and assess the performance, to identify any areas of improvement, and to report the results to the relevant parties. And finally, must stay updated with the ESG trends and regulations, and be prepared to adapt and be updated at all the times.
Thank you, Sofoklis. Yes, for sure, all the strategies focusing on risk mitigation and enhances crisis response plan contribute to maintaining the operational stability and consequently crew welfare. Thank you very much for your views. Theodoros.
Yes, I'm here.
The energy transition unlocks a new wave, and as all waves, they remind us that the change is inevitable and it brings risks and opportunities. What, in your view, are the key risks and the key opportunities that this wave brings along?
I see a lot of risk regards the new fuels that they are trying to implement on board the ships, like non-clear hydrogen, carbon capture, methanol, ammonia, LNG, biofuel, or electric, which I believe, and maybe Kyriacos will say, I mean, not even the training centers, they are ready to pass this kind of learning development or training for our crew. So I think we are working a little bit backwards again in the wrong direction. And the opportunity, of course, is just that, of course, there is a big risk that how we will train all these guys. But the opportunity is just to develop and go to the next level, which is going to take time, as long to, not just to train them, but it's, on the other hand, it's like we are talking about different kind of fuels. Different kind of fuels, you cannot be supplied on all terminals, different kind of fuels. So it's another challenge there. So I don't know. I mean, it's a transition period, and it would take a few years to understand where this is going to lead us.
Thank you. Yes, there are for sure huge opportunities, but we shall not underestimate the risks that come within, and I guess that always safety should be the top priority that we should have in mind. Kyriacos, coming back to you. A lot of conversation focuses on the emergent fuels, training, digitalization, but at the end of the day, it's people on board, it's seafarers and people who support them ashore who contribute to the success of these initiatives. But how much hassle could this be for the continuous upskilling and continuous training of the crew?
It's quite a hassle. Previously in my presentation, I said that many regulatory frameworks might be complex to understand, implement, or many model courses provided by AMO are outdated. Imagine that all of the maritime academies here in Cyprus follow a specific guideline when it comes to training and education. So these new developments and advancements are not included within the previous educational material. So since we're going to have these new developments, there needs to be a guidance from the appropriate organizers, from IMO, to come officially to the training institutions and be able to implement them. In addition to this, we are going to require new additional faculty. Many of the academies have people who already left the industry, okay? They decided to continue in the educational sector. So you might need new people who are actually have this hands-on experience of this, on these new fuels. You can't just provide them with guidance, with a manual, and say, okay, you can start teaching this, this, and this in order to prepare our seafarers. That's not the case. Right. In addition, new fuels, we might need new laboratories, new simulators. So this is another impact when it comes to financing this type of advancements. So the hassle is going to be huge. But in order to be able to keep up with these advancements, we need to have the official guideline for the appropriate authorities.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I guess we can say you train for the known and you educate for the unknown, if you agree.
Yes.
Thank you. You mentioned, Kyriacos, also in your presentation, you were referring to the industry collaboration a lot, and this would link me to our Vasiliki, who also mentioned that communication is the point to start with, and the H2H, the human-to-human approach. You also mentioned, Chrysoula, in your presentation, and you gave us evidence how much the mental health of seafarers affect their decisiveness, and that confirmed that most of the accidents on board, unfortunately, are caused by human error. So my question to you is, what are the key benefits for the global maritime community by investing in employees' behavioral competency, and how does this strategic human-centric business model reflect the value of global sustainability indicators and guidelines such as ESG and SDGs?
Okay. Let's start with a fact. ESG or SDGs are the framework that leads us to a sustainable world, okay? So it's like a leader. We have the vision, and the leader shows us where to go. But what's left is the management. The management has to do with how we go there to the destination, and how and what resources we need. So there comes to the companies and the management in order to adapt to this change, first thing first is to invest again in people, because people are the ones who will deliver results, and in order to deliver the results, they need to committed to this mission, to the values, to the new strategy. And this strategy needs to be implemented holistically and systematically, not just once. It's like what I said earlier. It's not, we take a course, a leadership course for 3 days or 1 day, and then we say, okay, now I'm a leader. No, it doesn't work this way. It has to be with consistency. You need to train yourself, to continue learning and develop yourself. And of course, in a corporate environment, this is the company's, that's what they have to do. And the third thing is that, okay, you have the framework, you have the competent people, but then you need the tools. So you have the tools to equip your people that they are ready to adapt, they are ready to comprehend, to realize what is going on. We can't ask people to do things they don't understand. And understanding, comprehending, and implementing has stages. If we just use the term ESG and then we want them to be implemented, it can happen. Because this is only, it can happen with a miracle. And miracles, okay, they do happen, but not in shipping, okay? So we need hard work, and we need to be committed to this mission.
Thank you very much. Penelope, in view of everything that has been said during the first session, during this session, by the panelists before and now, what do you think, or do you think, is the maritime market ready to absorb the new trends and tendencies that arise from ESG requirements?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know that quite a few industries are not ready yet to absorb the ESG requirements. I do feel that maritime companies, because they operate on international waters, this is like not just localized, their operations are not just localized. I think they might be even more ready than other industries, compared to other industries. I think those requirements are coming in fast. I think they do have experience. They might not have the proper budgeting or the financial resources for some companies to apply them properly, but I think they're more ready than other industries, compared to other industries. And at the same time, sustainability is becoming a huge issue at our times, which is very different than what it was when I was growing up and what it was up until 15 years ago. Right now, environmental sustainability is becoming an issue. I think I was in Switzerland back in December, that I've been visiting the last 20 years, and I was shocked to see we were in Stad, there was no snow December 27th. That is an environmental issue. Is our environment sustainable unless we make changes? And social, we see, like all these social inequalities in all aspects, not just in the shipping business. We see the lack of principles that govern companies. We all have lived in the last 20 years, all the fallouts of Lehman Brothers, big companies investing, with no sustainable investments made. I think shipping companies, the maritime sector, and I'm sure other sectors as well, are ready to move forward, especially if we want to have a future in the maritime business.
Thank you very much. Would you like to add anything to that? No.
Okay, we're talking about environmental and all these things, and okay, I would like to ask from the audience here, because we are talking about environmental, who is doing, let's say, recycling at home? Who is trying to implement something at home which is going to help the environment, let's say, plant a tree, get your fruits from your home, plant tomato, cucumber during the summertime when it's easy to grow them? Who of you can do all these things? Or who is doing that?
I'm doing.
I think we're all doing it.
Well, and the next question, if you allow me, why, for those who do it, why you do it? It's very important, because only then, if you can answer to yourself first, not to the community, to yourself, why you go through the process of recycling, let's say, you need to answer this question, because if you don't know the answer, then you do it because someone else forced you, not only told you, forced you to do it.
I think we had a speaker in Athens who made a statement, you owe what you see. Yes, referring to the social responsibility, to caring for what we have around us. So yes, I guess that would summarize. Before I commit some time to the audience for some questions, I think, Vasiliki, I'll come to you with one more. Would the application of AI technology be transformative in terms of better adopting the changes arising from the ESG requirements and better controlling the ship's technical management?
Of course, I would expect that. Allow me to redirect the question to the Managing Director of Pylinet, Mr. Dimitris Georgios. I would like you to get involved to this conversation and let it be more interactive.
Thank you very much. Well, ESG and AI are very close as tools to the maritime industry. I mean, AI can contribute in operations, it can contribute in the footprint we leave, like the carbon footprint we leave, can reduce this by optimizing routes on the sea. And of course, it can increase safety. But consider always that AI is just a tool. The question could be how email can contribute in ESG. So it's how we use it and how we are focusing on the right prompts, let's say, to the AI. It's only just a tool, but it does really create less emissions, more quickly optimized operations, and for sure safety is the major. But if you have the patience, I can ask AI if you want. Easy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dimitris. Yes, I think with AI, just like new technologies, they will only work if they are user-friendly and applicable in the environment they were designed for, I guess. I'd like to now give some time to the audience for their questions.
Everybody's hungry, I guess. So
Everybody
no questions. I feel you.
All right, so let me just make a short summary of our panel. We all know that the changing shipping dynamics amplify the need for ESG. We will need new procedures, new processes, new training, new skills. And as we go on, the seafarers will play a major part in this transition. So I was thinking, as a conclusion, I think I would slightly amend the subject of this panel and put it energy transition and the major role seafarers play in writing the script. Because seafarers, as it was mentioned several times today, should be part of the dialogue. And to be part of the dialogue, they need to be given the voice. And only then, I guess, we will achieve the results and make the ESG one whole. And the holistic approach is a necessity for every organization. Thank you very much. Thank you to my panelists for making this panel about human. Because at the end of the day, as we said many times, and we can repeat, shipping is people's business. And it's all about people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.